Okay, so today our last exercise, we will draw an object. Okay, it can be any object, but we will draw a furniture piece. And when you draw, also try to draw something regarding this topic. We will draw the furniture piece in two-point perspective, in two different perspective views. So, we will see details from a frontal view and from the back, but in perspective. So this is different than, orthographic drawing where we have front, top, side view. No, that is a technical drawing with measurements. Here we don't have measurements. It is a sketch. So this is used when you're still designing something, thinking of a design, and you're drawing without measurements. You don't know the measurements, okay? So you want to show whatever you try to design from two different views, because sometimes if I draw this table from this particular perspective view, I can see some of the details. Maybe there is something interesting from the other side, okay? So I can draw it from another angle. So two different angles, both in two-point perspective. When the object is small enough, it is placed in the same drawing, two views, okay? So one major view, one secondary view that shows other details to complete the idea of what you are designing. Now, both views usually are done in the same size, okay, in the same proportion. Sometimes you can make one view bigger, the other one that is less important, a little smaller, okay? But still it should, the goal of this is to show details of the design. And we don't have measurements here, we have no idea about the measurements, so we will use, to get the proportions right, we will apply the division of the unit method, just to get the proportions right, okay? Of course, sometimes it can be a very fast sketch without any method application applied, but applying this, okay, in this exercise is to remind you, of what we studied before, and to see the application again, and also to basically any drawing you draw, when you use this, the proportions are correct, not measurements, proportions. Okay, so if I want to draw a unit of this size here, I know exactly where it will end. I don't know the size of this unit, for example. I don't know the size, but I want the same one here again, and maybe here, and maybe there. So I need to know where it will end. I can estimate, of course, but if you're not experienced, maybe you will make it too short or too long, you know. So the division of the cube, very fast, the division of the unit, sorry, very fast method to find the locations of certain items. Now, we will also apply cast shadow on one of the views. So we will have two views, and we will apply cast shadow on one view. Why the cast shadow we will apply? Again, it's to practice what we learned last class. In addition, when you have such drawings, it is nice to have one of them with a shadow, just to give more depth to the drawing, more realistic to make, and so on. So it's not a must in design to apply the shadow, but as I said, it can give more realism and more beauty to the drawing. So, of course, you apply it only to one view. Okay. Now, so, I started already here. I will draw one of the views, and then I will draw the same from another point of view, okay? So we have what here, the horizon line, two-point perspective, and I started with the first edge, my first edge, okay? I already defined my first unit that I want to draw. Now I need to draw like this unit here again. So where is this line going to end? I will apply very quickly the division of the unit method. So from here to here, halfway, okay, to the vanishing point. Going to the vanishing point. Now, from this point through this point, we will draw a straight line. Okay. So, where it will touch this line, okay, here is the location of the second object. So I know now that for sure this is the same size like this, but in perspective. I don't have to estimate and make mistakes. Now, from this side, we just have this piece, so I don't need to divide it and find the other pieces. Now, from this one, we will take to the vanishing point, and from this point to the other vanishing point. Okay. Now I want to put some details in this area, so I will divide it into 3 parts. Okay, and I will take this from this point to the vanishing point. Now, this piece here, this area, and this area, I want to divide into drawers, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? So how do I find where to put these 2 lines? I don't need to apply the division of the unit here, I can just put diagonals. So, diagonal from here, diagonal from here. Okay, here is the midpoint, so here is where it is, okay? The same here we will do. Here is the midpoint. So, now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 areas. And I know for sure that proportionally they are divided correctly. This one and this one we will leave as they are. Now we want to put some detail in this area. Okay, something go up. So, what the size, I don't know. Okay, I estimate. I want it to be the same like this one. Okay, double. Okay, so this one here, again. How much is this? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, somewhere here. Now this point I will take to the vanishing point, and from here up to find the location. Okay. Now from here I will do the same, a line up from this point to the vanishing point. Now, any object, real object, have a thickness to the material. Okay, so we cannot just leave it a line. Okay, some of you, when you draw, you leave just one line, but in reality, everything have a thickness, even if it's very small thickness. Okay, so I want to put a thickness to it, to this element. But because this is a sketch, I can immediately just start here, put a thickness, and just continue freehand. But if we want to put a little bit more accuracy, the proportions to estimate. For example, from here to here, what I imagine, this is here have a specific size. I want this thickness, for example, to be 1/4 of it, or half of it, or 1/8 of it, okay? So how do I find if I want to draw it proportionally correct? So we will divide this surface again into half, half. So here is the middle, okay? Now, I want to divide this piece again into half, so I can find a 1/4. It's a very quick method, but very useful. So this is now, this part here is 1/4 of this. Now if I want to make it even smaller, I can subdivide and subdivide and subdivide and find proportionally correct thicknesses. Now let's leave it 1/4. Okay, so put this line up from here. Oops. Now, we already know these 2 points, so we will take to the vanishing point to see where they will intersect. From this point to the other vanishing point. From here up. And from this point to the vanishing point. And they should intersect. So this one here will be the back. Okay. Okay, now I need to find the middle of this. Why? Because I want to draw okay, half a circle here and from the back, so it's something of this shape. I know this point, I know this point, I need to know this point where it's located. Now, very easy, we can, look, this is the midline here. Okay, from this point, I can take to the vanishing point. From this up, here is the midline, okay? Or you can divide the surface with diagonal, find the midpoint, the same thing, very easy. Now, this point, to find it on this line, we will take to the vanishing point. Here is it on this line. Now we will draw 2 times the curve. And from the back, you need to draw it in this way, not freehand, because this one at the back, it's very easy to mistake. So this is the start point, this is the midpoint, and this is here where it ends. But this part is hidden, okay? If you don't do it inside the box, it's very easy to make mistakes. Okay, now, to continue. We will have other details in this area, handles, you know, like something to use in this detail. So, how do we put that? Again, it's good to find the midpoints. This is here the midpoint of this. We already found it. Or put diagonals again. Take it to the vanishing point. Okay? So this is here the midline. So my handle, where is it located? It's nice to find the locations in general before you just start drawing freehand. So if it's below this, if it's in the middle exactly, this midline will help me. Now, here also, this is here the midpoint, okay, of the entire. So what I put from here, the other one will be a little smaller because this will go to the perspective. Now, if I want to be very, very accurate, I will start with a unit here and subdivide it with the division of the unit method and find exactly what I want in the exact location, okay? So this is if you want to be very accurate with your drawing. Now, I will do it just freehand. Now these lines, of course, need to go to that vanishing point. Okay? So if you want to be very accurate, you actually can start with one of these units and subdivide it to find the location of this and the location of this. So on your paper, I prefer you to be a little more accurate. Okay? So if you have details, I want you to see how did you find them. Okay? Now these lines, sorry, they need to go to the vanishing point. I'm just putting the thicknesses, okay, of whatever I'm designing. Okay. It's very rough, but we need to have thicknesses. So, we start with a box no matter what the shape is. Okay, so we need to start with a box and then we find, okay, if it has a curve, we need to draw like we did here. So we have one point, where is the midpoint? Diagonal, diagonal, here is the midpoint. So we can draw it now more accurately. The lower one, again, from this midpoint down, from here to here. And we have a thickness, it will not be visible here. So we have a thickness, okay. Let's draw it here again. Very fast. So, when we have this kind of shape, okay, this one and this one, you cannot just leave it like this on the paper. It have a thickness. So the thickness of the material, you need to place this thickness here, okay? You cannot just leave it aligned. Whatever you do, even if it's a millimeter, half millimeter, you put it here on the paper, it will be visible because your lines are clean, okay? Now, of course, you will not copy what I'm doing. You will do your own designs, okay, and drawings. So it will be totally different. Okay. Now, here, again, if we need the midpoint, we find it. Diagonal, diagonal. Okay, here's the midpoint. What I'm going to draw, if I want to draw a circle, we draw the square first, okay? The square, okay, in perspective. Then whatever length we have of the object, okay, it can here, this one can be a circle, okay? And this one here, until where, okay? So this is here another circle. Then these two can be connected. Now how I connect them, they could have all kinds of shapes, okay? This could be actually this could be a ball, you know, that you can handle and take out. So first you need to draw the box here, okay? The box. Then you draw the circles, then the other details. Now I will draw them really fast here. But in reality, you need to be much more careful. Everything starts with a box. You draw the circles according to what we learned, and then draw the other details, because as you get more experienced, you can draw it freehand and it will look correct. But for now, no. And you need to learn the method in case you cannot draw something freehand, okay? So it's very important to know, to learn how to construct correct. Okay, now, since we have this object here ready, let me just make it a little darker here. So, we will draw this one, but rotate it now from the back to see other details. So, we can do it, as I said, the same size, starting with the same size and then taking to the perspective, or we can do it smaller. Let's leave it the same size, okay? But, now look, where I will place it will play a big role in how it will look. So if I place this object not here, but here, or here, it will look totally different as a perspective, okay? So the location matters. The size matters, the location matters in this area, okay? So everything affects the way it looks. So I will start with the first edge. I will put it the same size like I started here. And this object is twice that size. Okay, so this one times 2 until here. Now we will take to the vanishing points. I already located the first element, which was this one here. Where is going to be the end of the box? Okay, where is the end of the box? Dividing the unit, this line, half of it, to the vanishing point. From this point through this point. Where it will touch this line, okay, here is the end. So from this point up, okay. So here is the end of the box, or the furniture piece. This element I already estimated. Now be careful, because this is freehand. What I mean is we don't have measurement. So if I place this closer to this vanishing point, we will see this as bigger. If we place this line closer to this vanishing point, this will appear smaller, while this will appear bigger. This one we don't need to worry about it because we divided it. But here, this one we cannot divide. Or we can actually, we can make it in the half and divide it, and but no need for this kind of, it's enough to draw it like this. From this point to the vanishing point. Okay. Now, this element here, which is this one, have a thickness, okay? So we need to find the quarter of whatever here we draw. So let's do diagonal. Diagonal, this is half. So this is half of it. Okay. Now this element here I will divide into again half. So this point here makes a quarter of whatever I objected here. So from this line up, very easy, up, from this point to the vanishing point, where it will intersect, from here to the other vanishing point, and from this point to the vanishing point. Okay, now we already know this location, which is the middle of this line in perspective. Okay, I always say in perspective because in reality this is not the middle visually. Okay, this is bigger than this. So from here we will put it up. Now, from this point to the vanishing point, to find the location on this line, okay? This point to the vanishing point. And from here, also from this point to the vanishing point. Okay. So, now it's time to draw this circular object, the curve. So we have these 3 points, this one, and this one. Okay? And from the other side, okay. So now this is a little bit from the front. We can see some details. Now from the back, what can we see? Well, this is very simple object, but some of your objects can have more details. Whatever they have, you will place. Okay. So what are the details in the design? You will place. If it's more complicated, it will have more details. Okay. Sometimes you have from the side details. It depends what you're drawing. So this is the idea, to draw a design from 2 different views on the same paper in perspective, when you still don't know the measurements. Just to explain, this is an explanatory sketch to explain what are you designing, what are you thinking about, okay? If the teacher or whoever is looking says, okay, this is a good idea, then the next step is to find the measurements, to draw the orthographic, isometric, and so on, the other type of technical drawings, okay? Now, let me delete this area here, because we need to draw the shadow, okay? The cast shadow. Above the horizon line, you can put a light source and the light source vanishing point. Now, remember what I said last class? The light source. The more it go up, the shadow will be shorter. The more it go down, the shadow will be longer, okay? Also, the location of this. I can place the light source here, or wherever, okay, I can place it. It doesn't matter. But every time you will have a different shadow on the object. So, now I prefer if my light source was more up, but there is no way to reach it, because it will be a little bit long here, okay? So let's hope for the best and start drawing. Now this object, we have what? Upper points, lower points, like last time, okay? The upper points are which? We have upper points, okay, this one, this one, this one, this one, okay? And we have lower points, these 2 here, okay? Oh, on this point also we have, this is also an upper point. This one, but this one maybe we will not need it. We only need this actually here. Okay. So I will leave it for now. Now these points here, we don't need, okay, because they're towards the back. Okay, we only need the points from the front where the shadow will hit these corners. Okay. Okay. Now, from the light source through the upper points. Okay. So where is the light source? Okay. Now I will do upper point, lower point, upper point, lower point, not to make a mistake. If we put all the lines and then we will maybe make a mistake, which line connect to which. If you're careful, you will not make mistake, but still, it's more clear to follow this way. So, this point is the upper point. Now, the lower point, which point? This one, that is below this point, exactly, okay? Goes through this light source vanishing point, okay? So, the light source vanishing point. Now, this point with its lower point, do you see where do they intersect here? Okay, next. This point with this point, okay? So, there is no line here, but I have to imagine this point with its lower line, okay? Or, let us do these 2 points first, and then we will see the other 2. It doesn't matter from where you start. Let me do this point now first. So, the upper point, the lower point. Upper point through the light source. And the lower point, this one, to the light source, vanishing point. So, where they intersect here. This point with this point. You see, they form triangular shape, okay? Now we have what else to do? We need to find this point. Oh, sorry, this point now and this point. Let's find it. So this point through the light source. Which point lays below it? This point here. Which point is exactly below it? This one here. Okay? So we will take it through the light source vanishing point. And this is where they will intersect. Okay, great. But we have also this point, because this shape here is changing, so it makes a corner. So this point lays on this line, which is which line? This line, okay? It lays on this line. So, this point through the light source, this point through the light source, where it will intersect this line, okay? Do you see this line here? Which is this line, okay? So it lays on this line. So any other points that lay on the same line, you find the line and then you find the locations. Now, we connect the points. So these 2 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? We connect these. And we connect these. Yes. Okay, wait just a minute. You need to go now? Okay, go. So, now let us shadow the area that created the shadow. Of course, you follow the line, as we said last time. So this is the resulting shadow area. Okay. So, when you connect, just be careful when you have a lot of points. Okay, always choose the upper point, the lower point and connect. Then upper point, lower point, connect the major points. Then find if you have anything in between that needs to lay on the lines, and you place them. This way, it's safe, okay, to do. Now, this is basically it. Now, what you need to do for your homework is to draw any furniture piece from your mind, from looking, it doesn't matter, but it must be different for every student. Do not copy this. Do not, okay, copy this. Understand me, okay? Also, try to keep it medium. Don't put so much details that you start making mistakes with the drawing. Keep it simple. Important to understand the application. And I need to see on the drawing division of unit method applied and cast shadow on one of the views. Now, here we have some examples. Okay, this is some kind of a chair, okay? And on one of the views, the cast shadow is applied. The shadow here is wrong. It should have been applied using one of these lines, but never mind. It's still a clean drawing, nicely made correctly, okay? Here is the chair in two different views. The division of the cube method, the division of the unit also applied correctly. Here we have another drawing. It's very, very clean drawing, but the student made one mistake. He put on both views shadow. We don't need that. It's too much, okay? Just one view shadow, the other view without shadow. But otherwise, the line work is perfect. The shadowing, everything perfect, okay? The look of the chair, the design, the division of the unit, everything applied very nicely, okay? So I will put these as examples here. Just to have a look.